Hello everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video for the ScrapFX DT team. Today I'm working in my Square Dilutions journal and I'm doing a 3-page spread. So I've started off by gessoing the 3 pages that I'm going to use, and then I'm going to be using these Bold Blooms by Michelle Logans. So I've started off adding some aloe to the page, just in 3 places, touching the sides. And then I'm using a little bit of ocean, but a very watery brush, so it goes on in quite a watercolory type of way. Then this is the ScrapFX stencil from ScrapFX, and I'm just removing some paint through the stencil using a baby wipe. Next I'm going in with mineral and a blending tool and using the same stencil and just adding some patches of stenciling. This stencil that you can see is the Palm Frond stencil. It's also from ScrapFX, and I'm just using a touch of fuchsia from Dina Wakley and adding some detail to the page. Then I'm just arranging the bold blooms on the page, adding a few dots just to try and blend them into the page a little bit, because there are some dots on the bold blooms already. So then these 2 in the middle that I haven't stuck down they're going to be like liftable flaps, so you'll be able to see underneath them. So I'm just sticking them down using a little bit of washi tape. And then, just so the washi tape didn't look ridiculously silly on the page, I'm just adding some more bits of washi tape on there as well. Then I'm drawing round the 2 bold blooms that are going to be the liftable flaps, and I'm going to actually cut those out. I'm cutting them just inside the line that I drew, so that when it's cut, the bloom will fold back over the hole, and you shouldn't really be able to see it's there. Then I'm using a pit marker pen, and I'm just putting a little bit of shadow to one side of all of the bold blooms. I love these pens for adding some shadow detail. They're lovely because they smudge really nicely. So now I'm going on to the next 2 pages, the next double page spread, and I'm just adding the same colours that I did on the first page, so the aloe and the ocean, and then again the stenciling, going in with the mineral using the ScrapFX stencil, and again adding the Palm Frond stencil using the fuchsia, because I wanted the 2 pages back and front to be the same. And then I'm using some blue mandala collage paper from ScrapFX and just going in and adding a few pieces of collage paper on the top after. Sometimes it's good to start off with your collage elements underneath and add them underneath your layers of paint, but these ones I wanted to show and be visible. So there's lots of layers here, and then I was just adding a bit of stenciling there. It was like a typewritten stencil. So I'm just going to do the same thing on the back of the page. I'm just adding the same collage paper in. The colours work really nicely with the colours that I'd already used, so it was a good choice to use on this page. So then the 3rd page that I'm going to do, I'm just adding some more of the collage paper onto this one. This one, collage paper is going underneath because I wanted the main focus on this page to be the flowers that I'm going to paint. This is a Creativity Phrases rice paper, which is also from ScrapFX. Sometimes it's nice to just use it to get some text onto your pages. So then you can see I've just had 3 bold blooms left over, so I've just stuck those on that page on the left. And then I was just weighting that page down with a journal while it dried. Then I just put a little bit of gesso over the top, just to push the collage paper into the background a little bit. And then I'm using permanent red violet from Amsterdam Acrylics, and I'm just painting some circles which are going to be roses. I'm also mixing that with white to make some different tones and shades of pink, and I'm just doing a quite loose strokes. I'm going for a bit of an abstract rose look, not particularly worried about getting one that looks exactly like a rose. As long as it represents a flower, I'm quite happy with that. Just adding a bit of fuchsia into there to create a slightly darker pink as well. I was using quite a flat wide brush. It was probably about an inch. And then just using the gesso that I've got left on my glass mat and just painting round the roses a little bit just to try and help pop them out from the background. And then I've just mixed lime with a tiny bit of night just to make a nice dark green. I'm just painting some leaf shapes on there. And then I'm going in with a bit of lime and adding some lighter highlights to the leaves as well. And then I was just using a black pen and just doing some sort of scribbly lines on the roses and on the leaves. And again using a pit marker pen and just adding some shadows and marks onto the roses as well. So these letters are from a transparency by ScrapFX called Label Maker Negative Transparency. And then I just picked out the one word flower, and then I'm just handwriting the rest of the quote. And I'm writing it round the, if you remember on the first page that I cut the 2 holes in, and I want 2 of the roses to peep through there. So I'm writing this quote around where those 2 holes will be. And then I'm just adding some white dots onto some of the flowers to kind of echo the way that Michelle Logan had done the Bold Blooms. And of course some black dots on the other page. And then on the back of the flaps that I'd created, I'm just doing a bit of journaling in a spiral shape, writing round and round and round. It looks a bit of a faff. It is a bit of a faff turning your book round and round, but it's quite an effective way of doing a bit of journaling. Then I decided that I wanted a quote on this first page as well, so I wrote that around the flaps that I'd created. Then using a silver gel pen, I'm just adding some marks onto the letters, just where the shadows would be. And here we are, here are the finished 3 pages. You can see there with the roses peeping through and then the final double spread. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching.